What's up friends, Paul here, and in today's video we're going to be looking at a planner. I think you'll like this planner. This planner is made for entrepreneurs and high performance people like you. I'm so grateful to the people at Finisher Secrets for sending this to me. Full disclaimer, they did send it to me for free. However, I told them that the thoughts that I would share are completely my own. So let's dive in and check out this planner. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I just moved into a new studio space, so I'm still getting set up. As you can see, it's pretty bare wall, so bear with me. I'm excited to have you along with the journey. If you wouldn't mind, smash that like button, subscribe. That'd be awesome. Perhaps you're like me and you like planners, and you've basically spent more time looking for a perfect planner than actually doing the work. So what led me to Finisher Secrets? Prior to this, I was using digital tools for most of my planning. And honestly, there's something about the tactile that I just keep going back to. There's something that pen and paper, you can't replace it. And let's dive into our planner of today. On the back of this planner, you'll find kind of like an outline of what this planner is about and who this planner might be geared towards. So for example, if you're an entrepreneur or perhaps you like being a high performance person, this journal planner is probably for you. They really packed in a lot of great features that will help you plan your day, plan your quarter. If you've read any books like Traction, you know that planning out your quarters are very important to achieving your long-term goals, because then you set those smaller goals to hit those bigger goals. So before we dive in, I just want to quickly tell you kind of my criteria of defining a good planner. To me, it has to have a good UI, UX as a designer. That's kind of what I look for. Is it easy to use? Is it, useful? Can I access what I need when I need it? Also, the quality of the materials, that's very important. If something feels like cheap, or if the pages bleed through, then obviously that's something that I wouldn't really like to use. I've had planners in the past that are cheap pages, and honestly I didn't end up using them, whereas the products that are higher quality I usually end up sticking with long term. I also like a planner when it's priced right. I don't like overspending if I can avoid that. Okay, now let's dive in and get an overview of this planner. Like I said, this planner is made for entrepreneurs and high performance. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, I think this planner is honestly a well set up planner for anybody that's looking to basically stay focused and achieve their goals. It also says that, it's got a scientific approach to keep you focused and reach your goals 4 times faster. So if you like to be speedy, get this planner. It also says that it's got a proven system to crush procrastination and elevate your business game or performance. Okay, now let's dive in. Here we go. So on the front, we got Finisher's Journal, and inside you have the Finisher Journal, and basically it says a powerful yet simple daily planner for entrepreneurs. I love simple things that are effective. So let's see if that holds up. Right below it, you have a place that you can enter in all your awesome information, your address, phone number, email. That way, if you ever lose your planner, they can track you down. So on this page, basically, it's just a quick start guide, so you can check out any other extra resources to get started. And then on the next page, we have an awesome quote by Steve Jobs. Basically, it says, "The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do." Stay crazy, my friends. Next up, we have the index, where you can list out any of the important pages that you want to save, or they also have this area where they list out, the pages that they've already put in there so you can easily access them. And then they suggest putting in your biggest win for the week, so that, maybe if you want to go back and revisit that week, maybe you had some important notes, or you just want to celebrate all that you've accomplished in a quarter. That's a really quick way to see the bullet points of your biggest wins of the week. The whole book is numbered, so that's convenient. That way you can always go back, to that one thing that you wrote down. Next up, we've got the heart of the planner. Basically, this is where you're gonna plan out your quarter. Here you have basically your 90-day goal. And they also have a secondary goal plan. However, they do say they would suggest sticking to one if you can. However, they do have this if you want to be an overachiever and try for the second goal as well. However, maybe start out with one. So it's not just any 90-day goal, it's a SMART goal, so it's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So yeah, next you got your key motivations. Basically, this is the why behind your 90-day goal, because this is going to be repeated throughout this planner. You're going to basically be writing it out again every single week to keep on task and make sure that you're doing the habits and, you know, your big 3 of the week that lead you towards your goal. And then you have the next step. So basically, what is the next thing that you have to do to get to that 90-day goal? And at the very bottom, you have a reward. So reward yourself with something that is meaningful. Ideally, it's something that has significance maybe to the goal, and it encourages you to keep with it. Here we have the habits plan section, and what you want to do here is list out 3 different habits that will help you achieve your goal. Maybe they're directly related to your goal, or perhaps there are other items, like for example, exercise is always good and it will help you, you know, have more energy, be excited, and get closer to your goals. So you might want to do something like that, or whatever it is. Basically, write that down, and at the very bottom you have another reward section. Love that. So what are you gonna celebrate once you achieve those habits? And on this page you have your daily rituals. So basically you want to list out your morning routines and your evening routines and the allotted time that it takes. And here we have the setup for a week and the week review. Let's start with the week plan. So this is what you'd get when you start a week. Reminds you how many weeks are left in the quarter. That way you know, I gotta pick things up, or I'm doing great, I'm awesome. Everyone loves to be the second one. You repeat your 90-day goal. You just basically list it out, so you review it and you can kind of assess your progress that you've made so far. Then you have your big 3 of the week. Basically, these are 3 things that you can accomplish this week that will bring you closer to achieving your quarter goal. Below you have your habits tracker. So this is a neat little section for you to write out those 3 habits and then basically put in your goal, like maybe how many times a week you're hoping to achieve that, maybe 5 times a week, 3 times a week, you name it, and then you just basically cross off as you go along. Then when you finish a week, you have your week review, and there you'll list out your biggest win, what was the biggest accomplishment that you had that week, and you'll put that again in the index. That way you can look back and celebrate those small wins every single week. And then you'll task migrate. So if there was anything that you didn't accomplish in a week, you'd basically list it out here so that you don't miss anything, and you can transfer that over to the new week if it's important. However, you can also delete it if it's no longer important to you. And then they have the section for habit goals. So basically you want to check only if you've completed more than 80% of your habit goal this week, or I'd suggest coloring in as much as you think you've accomplished that week. And then you're going to do your weekly progress. Basically, you had your most important tasks. So you color in, did you get to 100%, 50%? You have that bar so you can visually see how far you made on that important task. And then you got your secondary task 1, secondary task 2, and then any notes that you want to make from the week, you can put that here. So that's kind of the week overview. Okay, now let's dive in and check out this day planner. So here we have at the top Monday. So that's the day that you start the week off, and you'll just enter in the date on the top. And here you have a space to fill in any of your, you know, meetings, events, or you can even put in like, you know, a block of time that you want to work on a certain task, maybe your important task of the week. So you can put that in there. And then here you kind of have like a to-do list. It's kind of cool. You can list out the most important task of the day. Basically, if you were to accomplish one thing in the day that made a big difference, this would be it. It would be your biggest task of the day. And then you have the secondary tasks, and just basically a place to put additional tasks. And below that, they kind of give you a guide of how to make these boxes, like fill in the boxes. So you have your completed, you basically color in the box completely. You have the migrated, you just draw an arrow. You have deleted, exit out. And then in progress, you fill it in part way. Or maybe you like colored exactly the progress that you've done. So like 25%, 75%, whatever works for you, you do that. And then it's great over here. You have extra space. You've got this notes / ideas section. So anything else that you want to list out for the day that's important, or maybe you just have inspiration and just want to jot down some ideas, you've got this section here. And below that, you have like kind of this idea for how to list out things. So you got like a dash for notes, and then you have to-dos, like another box, so you can add boxes to this side, and a little asterisk if it's an important item. Also on this page, you have your morning routine, so you can check that off if you completed your morning routine. And then at the bottom, you have an evening routine, and you also have this cool little space to fill in your nightly recap. So that'll give you a time to kind of reflect and write a sentence, kind of like maybe you had like a light bulb moment. What was that? Just put that in there. And then as you get towards the end of the journal, you have this little 2 weeks notice. No, you're not losing your job, but you are losing your planner. So they are so kind to give you this 2 weeks notice. So if you need to get another one, just go on their website and get your next one. So congratulations, you made it to the quarter review page. Here, basically, they have an outline of, your biggest wins. You can write those down. That way, you can celebrate that. And then you got your goals review. How good were you at accomplishing your goals? And then also your habit goals. You have a section right here for both your goals and your habits. And basically you have your quarterly scan at the very bottom. Here you'll basically make sure you reward yourself. So once you do that, you can check that off. And then next you have your daily rituals review. So maybe there was things that you changed along the way. So you're just kind of like, make a recap. That way you can perfect it as you go along. And then you basically have a planner migration. So migrate all pending tasks to your new planner. So and then you have your quarter recap. So basically sum up your biggest takeaway in one sentence. So I love how they have this dot page section at the very end. They got a good number of pages for you to fill out. And then they have this handy dandy place so you can fill it out. Maybe you put some snacks in there. You can put it, any papers. So this is a nice handy dandy planner. There are a couple things that I personally would like to see maybe in a future iteration of the Finisher Secrets planners. Perhaps they could expand their offering. For me, I love week view. I don't know what it is, but being able to see just like the overview of the week and kind of see like your meetings planned out, that way you can kind of plan ahead. That to me is a big win. So you don't get that with this. However, you do have your week review section or week plan. So you can kind of see an overview there. However, like just your schedule, it would be nice to be able to see that in a week view format. Okay, so although I love paper, there have been a couple times where I wish this was digital just so I could access it wherever, but it's not a game changer. And honestly, the benefits of paper, I think, outweigh the accessibility issue of paper. Let me know in the comments if you're a paper lover or perhaps you're more of a digital kind of person. I'd love to hear if you've got a perfect system that works for you. Maybe you combine the two. Let me know. So the last few things are probably a little nitpicky, but I thought I'd share them with you because I told you this was going to be, a full spectrum review. So let's go into that. So the first thing that I'm going to be nitpicky about is the allotted time or the allotted tin. So basically it just printed off the margin. Make sure you allot enough tin to accomplish your morning routine. This is a nice cover. However, I wish it was more of a moleskin kind of feel. But it's fine. Not a big issue there. The page quality is good. And the other thing that I will say, that it says that this planner is supposed to lay flat, which it does a pretty good job at. However, there are some pages that just you could probably press it down and it should be fine. And this is another personal preference of mine. I like a bigger planner. I like to see regular size paper. To me, that's kind of nice, especially when you have a week view planner. It gives you enough space to have an area for your tasks and other items of the week. I think one of the things I love about Finisher Secrets is the company behind it. The people there are definitely interested in creating a product that will help serve you, not just something that they can sell. It's definitely something that they want to make part of your everyday and something that will transform your quarter. If you want to pick up one of these awesome planners, be sure to check the links in the description below. And if you wouldn't mind, smash that like button, subscribe. Until next time, stay focused. I think this is a wrap. Anything else? Did I forget something? Let me know. Comments. That's what they're there for.